Good morning, everybody. How are you doing? I get this notification that it's showtime, which actually means it's definitely showtime. We should probably pull up here. Probably I should pull up. Pull up. Pull up. Pull up. Somewhere where I'm gonna get this live stream, right? That'll help. Usually right side broadcasting is pretty good for that sort of thing, right? Right side broadcasting should be good for this. This feels like something right in their wheelhouse. Here it is. How late do you think he's going to be? Will he be later than I was or not? That's the question. Will he be later? Will he be later than me or not? Because I've noticed he ain't exactly punctual on these things. He ain't exactly punctual. But I did find him. I did find him. Let me share what I got here. Yikes. Let me share what I got. Share the screen. As I mentioned at the beginning of my show yesterday, he's still under a gag order. So he really should be like, he has to think twice about how he words this. Is he still under gag? Good morning, Kenda. People should all hit like and subscribe. As we march past 98,000, marching toward 99. Look at this. Nathan see that kind of activity. That's the activity of a mod right there. That's mod type of activity right there. That is mod type of activity. That's not. I gotta come in the right place though. I got. Give me a second here. I have the thing open, so I'm ready to go. Ready to go. Where are you? There you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. Hello, my diggers. Hello, my Rumble Ghetto. And Doug, first one in there, jumps on in. So here it is, just so you know that, just so you can feel rest easy that Joe's got this. He's on it. He's on it. Joe is on it. I should turn this volume up. Thank you so much, Melkor. Wait, is that Melkor? Is that like the Melkor? Is that Mr. Melkor? Is that? God bless you. Thank you for the generous super chat. I appreciate that. Really do. Really do. That's a nice thing to wake up to. Yeah. So, oh, that's Medicare. That's Medicare. I could do what he want. I got me a Melkor. Like, that sounds the same. It sounds the same. That wasn't a crazy question. Wasn't a crazy question. I'm thinking that He's obviously going to be critiquing the judge's decision. I don't think he's going to hate the jury. I don't think he's going to hate on that. He's obviously going to come hard after Bragg. And I really hope that he echoes kind of what Tucker Carlson said, that it's time for us to start recognizing. It's time for us to start recognizing the people who are standing behind this decision. They're embracing the destruction of our republic. Be vigilant of possible false flag ops that exploit verdict to provoke unrest against the left wing and blame MAGA. Stay informed and cautious. This is a very important thing that Cloak and Glomer is mentioning here. It's very, very important. You will be baited into violence. Expect to be baited into violence. A reminder that January 6th, the insurrection of January 6th was not a one-off. They're a constant, pervasive threat. First January 6th, now whatever other date they come up with, we have to be more aggressive in how we deal with MAGA. So I'm urging you, don't get violent. Don't get violent. Don't try to justify and say, well, we saw BLM or all that other stuff. Be loud, be strong, but not violent. Those are different things. Two different things. 36 million so far. Really? 36 million. Is this the Miko star? No, it's Menaker. That's my way of mocking myself. My way of mocking myself. You guys know Leslie McAdoo Gordon? She asked me to join her today. $36 million so far. Well, that's how much money he raised. That's how much money he raised. It's gonna be such a. Oh my god, 36 million so far. That's hilarious. It's hilarious. So dumb. So dumb. So. Oh. I want to put a poll up. I want to find out if you guys think that they're actually going to throw him in prison. That's the poll. The sentence will include prison or house arrest or just probation with other. That's a great question. I'm curious what you guys think about that. Very curious what you think about that. I'm going to throw this up right now. Right now. Do you guys think that what do you guys think the sentence will include? You know, it could be up to 20 years. What will sentence include? This is a great question. So what's the worst thing Trump's sentence will include? Prison. Or prison under 1 year. And another option, house arrest. Months or more. Prison / house arrest. It's not working. This is too long. There you go. I think it's great, Paul. I'm very curious what you guys think about this. Very curious. What is the worst thing Trump's sentence will include? Prison for 1 year or more, prison for under 1 year, house arrest several months or more, or no prison / house arrest. I don't have any volume here. I don't have any volume. I have no volume. I don't understand. He just walked out. What's happening? I don't have any volume. I don't have any volume. I don't hear him. What's happening? What the hell is happening? Son of a gun. Damn it. Oh, it's not just me. They say no sound there also. This whole thing, everyone's screaming in the chat there and there's no sound. Oh, gosh. YouTube. Don't worry, I'm going to catch the beginning of it. We're going to have to go back a little bit. So I'm catching it.
A president and a group of fascists that don't want to do anything about it because they could do this to me. They can do this.
Fox.
Thank you very much, everybody. This is a case where if they can do this to me, they can do this to anyone. These are bad people. These are, in many cases, I believe, sick people. When you look at our country, what's happening where millions and millions of people are flowing in from all parts of the world, not just South America, from Africa, from Asia, from the Middle East. And they're coming in from jails and prisons, and they're coming in from mental institutions and insane asylums. They're coming in from all over the world into our country. And we have a president and a group of fascists that don't want to do anything about it because they could right now, today, he could stop it. But he's not. They're destroying our country. Our country is in very bad shape. And they're very much against me saying these things.
That'd be hilarious.
They want to raise your taxes by 4 times. They want to stop you from having cars with their ridiculous mandates that make it impossible for you to get a car or afford a car. But make it very possible for China to build all of our cars. It's a very serious problem that we have. We just went through one of many experiences where we had a conflicted judge, highly conflicted. There's never been a more conflicted judge.
There's
Now, I'm
been more
under a
conflicted
gag
judges.
order, which nobody's ever been under. No presidential candidate's ever been under a gag order before. I'm under a gag order, nasty gag order, where I've had to pay thousands of dollars in
That'd be
penalties and
crazy.
fines and was threatened with jail. Think of it. I'm the leading candidate. I'm leading Biden by a lot, and I'm leading the Republicans to the point where that's over. So I'm the leading person for president, and I'm under a gag order by a man that can't put two sentences together, given by a court. And they are in total conjunction with the White House and the DOJ, just so you understand. This is all done by Biden and his people. Maybe his people, more importantly. I don't know if Biden knows too much about it. I don't know if he knows about anything. But he's nevertheless the president, so we have to use his name. And
Nicely
this is done
said.
by Washington, and nobody's ever seen anything like it. So we have a judge who's highly conflicted. You know what the confliction is. Nobody wants to write about it, and I'm not allowed to talk about it. If I do, he said, I get put in jail.
Yep.
So we'll play that game a little bit longer. We won't talk about it, but you're allowed to talk about it. I hope you do. Because
Yes.
there's never been
Nice.
anybody so conflicted as this.
Nice. I like that.
As far as the trial itself, it was very unfair. We weren't allowed to use our election expert under any
Interesting thought.
circumstances.
I'll come back to this.
You saw what
I'm also
happened
gonna come
to
back
some
to
of the
the-
witnesses
to
that
these
were on
two.
our side. They were literally crucified by this man who looks like an angel, but he's really a devil. He looks so nice and soft.
I like that
People say, "Oh, he
he's
seems like
pointing
such a
that
nice
out.
man." No, unless you saw him in action. And you saw that with a certain witness that went through hell. And when we wanted to do things, he wouldn't let us do those things. But when the government wanted something, they got everything. They got everything they wanted. It was a rigged trial. We wanted a venue change where we could have a fair trial. We didn't get it. We wanted a judge change. We wanted a judge that wasn't conflicted. And obviously he didn't do that. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. We had a DA who was a failed DA. Crime is rampant in New York, violent crime. That's what he's really supposed to be looking at. Crime is rampant in New York. Yesterday in McDonald's, you had a man hitting him up with machetes, a machete. Whoever can imagine even a machete being wielded in a store, in a place where they're eating, and he's going rampant. And Bragg is down watching a trial on what they call crimes. They're falsifying business records. That sounds so bad. To me, it sounds very bad. You know, it's only a misdemeanor, but to me, it sounds so bad. When they say falsifying business, that's a bad thing for me. I've never had that before. I'm falsifying. You know what falsifying business records is? In the first degree. They say falsifying business records. Sounds so good, right? It means that legal expense. I paid a lawyer, totally legal. I paid a lawyer a legal expense. And a bookkeeper, without any knowledge from me, correctly marked it down in the books. A very professional woman, highly respected. She testified. Marked it down in the books as a legal expense. So a legal expense, paid a lawyer, is a legal expense in the books. It's not sheetrock, construction, or any other thing. It's a legal expense. Think of that. This is what the falsification of business records were. And I said, what else are you going to call it? What else are you going to call it? Now, I would have testified. I wanted to testify. The theory is you never testify, because as soon as you testify, anybody, if it were George Washington, don't testify.
If he
They had
testified,
something that you said slightly wrong, and then they sue you for perjury.
It would have been terrible if he
But I didn't care
testified.
about that. I wanted to. But the judge allowed them to go into everything that I was ever involved in, not this case, everything that I was ever involved in, which is a first. In other words, you could go into every single thing that I ever did. Was he a bad boy here? Was he a bad boy there? And my lawyer said, what do you need to go through? And all you wanted to do is testify simply on this case, because I would have loved to have testified. To this day, I would have liked to have testified.
They would have.
But you would have been.
They
you
take
would have said
everything he
something out
says.
of whack, like it was a beautiful sunny day and it was actually raining out. And I very much appreciate the big crowd of people outside.
And they would have
It's incredible
twisted
what's
it
happening.
into being the
The
opposite of what
level
he's
of
saying.
support has been incredible.
So it would have been.
So the whole thing
It would have been a
is
mistake to testify.
legal expense was marked down as legal expense. Think of it. This is the crime that I committed that I'm supposed to go to jail for 187 years for. When you have violent crime all over this city at levels that nobody's ever seen before, where you have businesses leaving, and businesses are leaving because of this, because heads of businesses say, man, we don't want to get involved with that.
We don't want
I
to be
could go
subjected to
through
that.
the books
Yeah.
of any business person in this city, and I could find things that in theory, I guess,
Well,
let's
the
indict
fine
him, let's destroy his
also.
life.
That 400 million fine.
But I'm out there, and I don't mind being out there because I'm doing something for this country, and I'm doing something for our Constitution. It's very important, far beyond me. And this can't be allowed to happen to other presidents. It should never be allowed to happen in the future. But this is far beyond me. This is bigger than Trump. This is bigger than me. This is bigger than my presidency. And the people understand it because I just see a poll just came out, the Daily Mail. That was the first one, came out. It was done last night right after the verdict, where I'm up 6 points. 6 points from what we already were. We were leading fairly substantially. We're up 6 points in the Daily Mail poll. Now, maybe other polls come out and it says something differently, but a lot of people have predicted it because the public understands and they understand what's going on. This is a scam. There's a rigged trial.
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't have been in that venue. We shouldn't have had that judge.
Mm-hmm.
He should have allowed us to have an election expert. We had the best expert, most respected expert, head of the Federal Elections Commission. He was all set to testify. He was waiting for 2 days.
It's huge.
And when it was his turn, Bragg's people protested. And the judge knocked him out, said, you can't testify. He actually said, you can't testify for anything having to do with the trial. You can say what the federal elections is. Well, that doesn't help. Everybody knows that.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't testify. So essentially, he wasn't able to testify. Other people weren't able to testify. But with these people, they were able to use
the most extraneous, ridiculous stuff.
Salacious. By the way, and nothing ever happened. There was no anything. Nothing ever happened, and they know it. But they were as salacious as they could be, and it had nothing to do with the case, but it had to do with politics. And do you notice the timing? The timing was perfect. This case was dead. It was dropped by every agency, every governmental board.
Yep.
It was dropped by the
DOJ said nope.
Southern District.
This is
they
stupid.
said no, there's no case here. It was dropped by federal election, and that's what it's about. This is about a federal election, not a state election. You're not even allowed to look at it. They took the state and the city, and they went into a federal election. They're not allowed. The people from federal election, Southern District, and Washington dropped the case. Everybody dropped the case. There was no case. Cy Vance dropped the case. And when Bragg came in, he said, this is the most ridiculous case I've ever seen. And who would have a certain person, again, gag order, who would have a certain person like this ever testify? He said, this is essentially
he can't say Michael Cohen's
I've ever
name.
seen ever to testify.
He's trying to circumvent
He said, the
referencing
craziest
Michael
case
Cohen.
I've ever seen. This is Bragg. Then when I announced I was running for president, long time later, they decided to revive this case. And they got a judge, Judge Marchand, who was responsible for another case that was also brought. It destroyed the life of a very good man, by the way. Destroyed the life of a very good man who went to prison once, and then they just put him in prison again because they said he lied. He didn't lie. I looked at the statements he made. In fact, he didn't remember something, and they put him in jail. Again, they've destroyed him. With me for many years, he was an honorable person. He was an honest man.
I think it's talking about Weisselberg.
And if you look at what he did, supposedly, it never happened. There's never been anything like this. Over the education of his grandchildren. He didn't report that he had a car.
Is that Weisselberg?
Or 2 cars. on his income. I don't know. I wonder how many people here have cars. I wonder how many people said,
I don't
"Oh,
know
gee,
if
I
that
have
was
a
a
car
nod to
that's
ungag
worth X
Trump or
dollars."
not.
How do you even
I
figure
don't
it?
think so, though.
And I guess you do have to report it, but I would say probably almost nobody does. Nobody even thinks about it. They put this man, they destroyed this man, but they put him in jail again because they didn't want him to testify.
We got
They
him.
didn't want
We
him to
got him. We got him.
testify. That's why he went to jail. They put him in jail twice.
I think it's.
He's 77 years old. Now, normally I'd say that's an old guy, but I don't feel 77. Nobody ever says that about me. I'd like them to say, gee, we have to have a little sorrow for this man because they just don't say that about me. But maybe
They'll
I'm
say it
better off
about
that way. I
Biden.
think I'm probably better off that way. But they put him in jail twice. And you have to see what they put him in jail. And he was threatened by the judge. This man was told you're going to get 15 years in jail if you don't give up Trump. And he was told that. You're going to get 15 years in
Interesting.
jail.
If he did that, I think he might get in trouble for
And
that.
he made a plea deal because he didn't want to spend the rest of his life. And he was told that viciously. We're living in a fascist state. He was told that viciously. So you can go to jail for 4 months, 5 months, or you can get 15 years in jail. So do a plea. Almost who wouldn't do that plea? Everyone does those pleas. It's a horrible thing. There's a whole group of lawyers that fight that. It's so unfair. It's so unfair. But they destroyed his life.
Yeah, he
So many
does.
other things. You look at Southern District didn't want to bring the case. Nobody wanted to bring the case. And then you know who didn't want to bring the case? Most of all is Bragg. Bragg didn't want to bring it. But then he brought it. And they tried to make it a different case. They didn't say legal expense equal legal expense. Again, if I wrote down and paid a lawyer, and by the way, this was a highly qualified lawyer. Now, I'm not allowed to use his name because of the gag order. But, you know, he's a sleazebag. Everybody knows that. Took me a while to find out. But he was effective. He did work. But he wasn't a fixer. He was a lawyer. You know, they like to use the word fixer. He
Oh,
wasn't a fixer.
they're going to get him on
At
this.
the time, he was a fully accredited
Bragg's going to
lawyer.
try and get him on this.
Now, he got into trouble not because of me. He got into trouble because he made outside deals and he had something to do with taxi cabs and medallions and he
'Cause
borrowed
he's
money.
sufficiently identifying
And
him.
that's why he went. And then he pled to three election violations. And as soon as I saw that, I said, I wonder why he did that. He pled. He took a deal. Now, he took a deal because he wanted to get off.
I know he hasn't said the
In
name.
other words, I'll take
He
a
hasn't
plea
said
deal and I want to
McCohen,
get
but
off. And he
it's
wanted to make a
sufficiently
deal with the
identifying
Southern
him
District.
that,
And they
that
wrote
Roshan may try to
the
punish
worst
him for
report I
this.
think I've ever seen on any human being other than the report
Joe, who's he talking
that
about?
was written on James Comey
I don't
by
know.
the Inspector General.
Could be
A very
anyone.
great Inspector General, actually. Wrote a report that was so bad. This one was possibly worse. The Southern District, the judge didn't let us use it. He said, it's hearsay. I said, it's not hearsay. Wouldn't let us use it. This is about the man.
Maybe.
But he got in trouble for a very simple reason, because he was involved with borrowing a lot of money and he did something with the banks. I don't know if it's defrauded
That's
the
what you and I
banks,
would
but
say.
something happened. You guys know what it is. And then in addition to that, he gave up on three things where he wasn't guilty. In fact, they were going to testify in that. The head of the FEC, the Brad Smith, the election expert, #1 rated in the country, was going to
It's
testify.
really election interference if they throw him
He
in
took a plea
jail.
on three things. He
because-
just added them in because that gave him more bargaining power with respect to me.
Is he
But
testifying?
the three things that
Again?
he
Like, why is
led
it still
on
affecting
having to
him?
do with the election
Why is this guy
and
still
having to do
there?
essentially a little bit with me, they weren't crimes. They weren't crimes. Nor is paying money under an NDA. So we have an NDA, non-disclosure agreement. It's a big deal, a non-disclosure agreement. Totally honorable, totally good, totally accepted. Everybody has them. Every company has non-disclosure agreements. But the press called it slush fund and all sorts of other things. Hush money, hush money. It's not hush money. It's called a non-disclosure agreement. And Most of the people in this room have a
Textly, I don't
non-disclosure
think
agreement with their
they're going
company.
to get his Secret Service
It's a
removed.
disgrace. So it's not hush money. It's a
I know this
non-disclosure agreement,
anytime
totally
someone
legal.
introduces a bill, but I don't
Totally
think they can get
common.
it removed.
Everyone has it.
They have to get it through the
And
House.
what
How'd that happen?
happened
How would that happen?
is he signed a non-disclosure agreement with this person, I guess other people, but it's totally honest. You're allowed to make the payment. You don't have to make it. You can make it any way you want. It's a non-disclosure agreement. And he signed that. And there was nothing wrong with signing it. And this should have been a non-case. And everybody said it was a non-case, including Bragg. Bragg said, until I ran for office. And then they saw the polls. I was leading the Republicans. I was leading the Democrats. I was leading everybody. And all of
It's
a sudden,
actually maximum 20
they brought
years.
it back.
They can't
It's a
tack on
very
more than
sad
20
thing
years.
that's happening in our country. And
That's what I heard yesterday.
It's a thing that I'm honored in a way. I'm
Each
honored.
count
It's not
could
that it's
theoretically be 1 to
pleasant.
4 years, but I believe
It's very bad
it caps
for
at 20.
family. It's very bad for friends and businesses. But I'm honored to be involved in it because somebody has to do it, and I might as well keep going and be the one. But
Does
I'm
it really
very
matter
honored
at the
to
end
be
of the day?
involved because we're fighting for our Constitution. The money that was paid legally. There was nothing illegal. In fact, the lawyer in creating the NDA, because at that time he was a fully accredited lawyer. He wasn't a fixer. I never thought of him as a fixer. The media called him a fixer, or the prosecutors called him a fixer. He was a lawyer, and he was fairly good. Later on, I didn't like what he did. I didn't like, for instance, I didn't like that when I became president, he went around and made deals with companies. When I heard that, he was gone. He was gone. And he had
Standing issues
payments coming
overcome.
to him. And a lot of this involved things that are very simple. There was nothing wrong. This was standard stuff, all standard stuff. Everything involved was standard. There was no crime here. In fact, I just watched a couple of the reports. You watched Jonathan Turley,
I don't think it's going to
McCarthy,
pass.
Greg Jarrett. You
I don't
look
think
at
the
all
House
of
will
these
pass it.
people. Mark Levin, all very talented
Good
people.
logic.
Great people. Many more.
Thank you.
And they don't know me, essentially. They don't know me. They're legal scholars and experts.
Say my name.
I watched Turley this morning saying there's no crime here. Everybody says there's no crime here, except for this DA that's got the city out of control with crime. It's absolutely out of control. So we have an NDA that was signed.
I'm not
we have
legal,
legal
though,
expenses. And here's the thing on legal expenses. You have 100 where they say they do a charge. I just recorded this out. Falsification of business records in the first degree. It sounds so bad. I said, wow. And even my own lawyers, I get very upset with them because they don't say what it is. They say, well, falsification of legal records is only a felony. Well, that's a lot. Is only they say misdemeanor. But they try and bring it up to a felony if there's 2 crimes. They have all these different things. The other thing is they missed the statute of limitations by a lot because this was very old. They could have brought this 7 years ago instead of bringing it right in the middle of the election. So they missed the statute
They said it was
of
told.
limitations. They did everything. Now, let me
They claimed
give
it
you
was
the good
told
news.
for his
The good news
presidency.
is, last night, we just got a report this morning.
$36 million.
In the history of politics, I believe, maybe I'm wrong. Somebody will find that I'm wrong, maybe, but I don't think so. They raised with small money donors, meaning like $21, $42, $53, $38, a record $39 million in about a 10-hour period. No, think of that. I like those people. Because so far, I guess it's backfired. Now, I don't know. I'd rather not have it happen. I don't want to have it backfire. I don't want to win this thing legitimately, not because they were stupid and did things that they shouldn't be doing. They shouldn't have brought this case. They were saying it this morning. This is a case that should not have been brought. I watched Andy McCarthy say this is a case that should not have been brought. And that was this morning. But they all say that. Every legal scholar has said it. And these are great people. They really understand the law. The other thing, a poll just came out. The first poll, I don't know, maybe others will be bad, but a poll just came out a little while ago. The Daily Mail. Does anybody read the Daily Mail? It's very good. They have a good poll. At least I like it today. And the Daily Mail just came out with a poll, and it has Trump up 6 points in the last 12 hours. 6 points. 6 points since this happened. Who thought this could happen? Because the people of our country know it's a hoax.
That few people have raised.
They get it. You know, they're really smart.
Interesting thought.
And it's really something. So we're going to be appealing this scam.
It's going to take a long time.
Appealing it on many different things. He wouldn't allow us to have witnesses. He wouldn't allow us to talk. He wouldn't allow us to do anything. The judge was a tyrant. And you got to see that with Bob Costello, a fine man. I've never seen anything like it, and neither has anybody that was in that courthouse where he demanded that the courthouse.
Dershowitz said he never saw anything like it.
Most of the people in the courthouse were the media, and anybody that was in the media, if you're fair, you'll say, "Wow, that was anger. That was crazed. He was crazed." And the reason that Bob Costello acted a little bit upset, which I think he has a right to, was that every question he was being asked was being objected to by the other side and sustained by the judge. Sustained.
Before the question was finished.
Many times. I don't know what the number, many times. Even I was sitting there saying, and these were basic questions. And I never saw anybody treated that way by a judge. And I've been treated very badly by two other judges also, because it's all the same thing. And it all comes out of the White House.
I pointed that out in X Space when I was arguing with Tyra about that.
The worst president in the history of our country. He's the worst president in the history of our country. The most incompetent. He's the dumbest president we've ever had. He's the dumbest president, most incompetent president, and he's the most dishonest president we've ever had. And so many of he's a Manchurian candidate. You take a look at the way he treats China, Russia, so many others. You know, I ended the Russian pipeline. It was dead. He comes in and he approves it. And he gets $3.5 million, meaning $3.5 million is paid to the family, his family, from the mayor of Moscow's wife. And I said, where did that come from? Nobody wants to talk about it. But he's a very big danger to our country. And the only way they think they can win this election is by doing exactly what they're doing right now. Win it in the courts because they can't win it at the ballot box. So we're going to show them that, we're going to fight. It's actually, I don't know. It's something where I'm wired in such a way that a lot of people would have gone away a long time ago. They would have gone away after impeachment hoax number 1. That was a total hoax. I had great support from the Republican Party, though. Then you had impeachment hoax number 2. And then they formed the committee. How about they formed the committee of thugs, the J6 committee of thugs. And they took their records and they destroyed all of the records after the committee was abandoned because those records were great for us. Now, can you imagine if Republicans did that? Everybody would have been in jail by now. Think of it, the unselect, I call it the unselect. They call it select committee. I call it the unselect committee of thugs. They meet.
Do better than that.
It's 100% Democrat and 2 past Republicans that are no longer Republicans, that are no longer in business anymore. Thank you. But it was all Democrats.
I buried them.
Wayward Republicans. Liz Cheney and crying
Adam
Kinzinger. He cries every time he goes on television. He's the most emotional human being I think I've ever seen. And that was our representatives. These 2 people were our rep. So they had all the stuff that they're leaking. And then when it came time to look at the records, like where the police said and the Capitol Guard said that I supplied, think of it, that I recommended as many soldiers or National Guard as you want. 10,000 If you had 500, you wouldn't have had a problem. There wouldn't have been a J6. But Nancy Pelosi and the group didn't want it anyway. So they have testimony to all of that, that I did not attack the Secret Service agent in the front of a car. You know, these are strong people. And I supposedly went to the driver and I grabbed him around the neck.
Reached over.
And he rebuffed me. And then I went to the other guy, who I think is a black belt in karate. And he's slightly younger than me, maybe 35 years, 40 years, 50 years. And I grabbed him around the neck and said, he's a black belt in karate. They know how to get somebody from around their neck. They would have gone like this, and that would be the end of that. Actually, I had a friend that said, you shouldn't dispute that. That makes you look like the toughest cookie we've ever seen. You should have let that go on. But the fact is, it never happened. It was all made up. And that was proven to be made up. It proved to be a false story.
Good question. I don't know.
They deleted and
But
destroyed
they always say yes.
all of that information.
Did you?
Every
You agree?
ounce of it.
Yes.
We're dealing with a corrupt government. We have a corrupt country. Our elections are corrupt. Our borders are open. Our borders are going to be closed very soon. November 5th is going to be the most important day in the history of our country. Now, when I say that, because my people are always saying, do this, because we're fighting for America, DonaldJTrump.com. I hope everybody watching right now, DonaldJTrump.com, because it really makes a difference. They have a lot of money on the other side. I don't know where they get it. Nobody knows where they get it. But for some reason, they get money. But they're not on the side of our country.
Yep.
In many ways, I think they
100%
hate our
not.
country.
Yep.
Who on earth
As it
can want
is.
open borders where people are allowed to pour in from countries unknown, from places unknown, from languages that we haven't even heard of? We have people sitting in schools with languages where very few people have ever even heard of these languages. It's not like Spanish or French or Russian. Languages unknown.
I don't know what
We
that
have people
means.
coming from,
I don't know what that means, but they're
corners of
definitely
the
going to call him
globe.
racist for
and
that.
many of them are not good people. Many terrorists, record levels of terrorism, record levels of terrorists have come into our country. Record. They've never seen anything like it. You know, there was a report that in 2019, I don't believe this, by the way, the media gave it, and it was good for me, believe it or not. They said in 2019, there were no terrorists recorded that came into our country. I don't believe that. I don't think that's possible. But 2019 was a Trump year. I don't believe that that could be possible. But they said no terrorists came into our country. So let's say it was close. Let's say it was close. But now record levels of terrorists, record levels, the highest level we've ever seen of terrorists are pouring into our country. You have China with, just in the last few months, 29,000 people came in, and I looked at them on a line, and they look like perfect soldiers.
Isn't it
They're
though?
almost all male,
Isn't it though?
from 19 to 25. It looks like a recruiting exercise. They have beautiful tents. They have propane stoves. They have cell phones, the best you can buy. I said, what's going on? It looks like they're building an army right in our country. Now, I don't think that would happen, right? We're losing our country. And I really think that this is an event, what took place yesterday with this judge. Look, we have conflicted, but he's a crooked judge. And you'll understand that. And I say that
WWE.
knowing that it's very
He was doing his
dangerous for me to
WWE
say
in
that, and I don't mind.
the back of his
I'm
limo.
willing to do whatever I have to do to save our country and to save our Constitution. I don't mind. So,
He's putting his notes away. I guess he's wrapping up.
so thank you. So we will continue the fight. We're going to make America great again. Very simple. When people fight MAGA, they say, we're going to fight. I watch Biden. We're going to fight MAGA. We're going to stop MAGA. It's make America great again.
They are fighting that.
MAGA.
They're fighting against making America great again.
America great.
They mean it
again.
literally.
Our country's in serious trouble. We owe $36 trillion. We were energy independent for the first time ever. And now we're begging Venezuela for oil. One statistic you have to hear. Venezuela was crime-ridden. Caracas, the cities, crime-ridden. 2 years ago, 3 years ago. They just reported a 72% drop in crime in the last year because all of their criminals, most of them, and the rest are coming in now, the ones that didn't come in. In Venezuela, their prisons have been emptied into the United States. Their criminals and drug dealers have been taken out of the cities and brought into the United States. And that's true with many other countries. The Congo has just released a lot of people from jail. Congo, Africa, just released a lot of people from their prisons and jails and brought them into the United States of America. This is what's happening to our country. And it's not sustainable by anyone. Little things like our kids can't have a Little League game anymore because you have tents and you have migrants living on the fields. That's the least of it. People are taking over our luxury hotels, migrants, and yet our veterans, our great veterans, are living on the streets like dogs. They're living on the streets. But migrants are living in luxury hotels and
It's a great point. I love that
cities
contrast.
all over our country, run
Great
by
contrast
Democrats. So
between
it's my
vets and
honor to be doing this. It really is. It's a very unpleasant thing, to be honest, but it's a great, great honor. We're gonna do what I have to do. I'm gonna do it, and the support has been. That's why I mentioned the number of $39 million. That's why I mentioned we're up 6 points. And we went up a lot over the last month because everybody saw it was a rigged deal. It was a rigged trial. But we're going to make America great again. We're going to make it better than ever before. November 5th, remember, November 5th is the most important day in the history of our country. Thank you very much, everybody.
all right. Well, there you go. There you go. I guess that's it. Didn't take any questions. All right. So just get a couple. Barb loves Alaska. I gotta give you one of these. Trump has huge balls of steel. We all know who he's talking about. Love this man. Trump hashtag Trump 2024. That's a reference to when he was talking about Michael Cohen and frankly, with the way this judge has interpreted things that he's said, I would expect Alvin Bragg to move to get sanctions and have him thrown in jail for that. It'll be interesting to see how how Judge Merchan reacts to it. I wouldn't be surprised if he hits him with some sort of financial sanctions. I'm hoping that for purposes of my ungag Trump application, I'm hoping that gag that he was dancing around today remains in effect. The longer it's there, the less I need to worry about that they're going to say it's moot, and then I have to try and establish that it's not moot. And frankly, if he's gagged from talking, I don't really think it has any harm on him in any real sort of capacity or sense. But it does enable me to move forward in trying to overturn one of the most dangerous decisions that any appellate court has ever issued, specifically the D.C. Circuit Court. While you're here, if you could please like and subscribe. I did cross 98,000 yesterday. I'm in a race on YouTube to try and cross that 100,000 threshold before I get to 50,000 subs on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it today. So if you can like and subscribe, I would be most obliged. That applies to you folks over in the ghetto also, the Rumble ghetto. A Texley says TPTB have gotten GOP congressmen to quit. The majority is on a knife's edge. It won't take much to give Hakeem the gavel. Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think they're going to give him the gavel. The humiliation that would just be amazing. It would be amazing. We were talking about this concept here. So I think they're going to put him on longer than a year in prison because they're trying to pass the Disgrace Act. They'll try to Epstein. I don't think they're going to remove this Secret Service. I don't think it's going to happen. But I'm not promising you that. I'm just telling you I don't think it's going to happen. because they can charge whoever they want to charge. It's whoever they want to charge. That's who gets charged. It's one of the big problems. So, Rana wanted to give you one of these. Raising 36 million in a few hours. Biden can't raise $36 in a month. I don't think he could raise it. People just throw it at him anyway. Texas Vet gifted me 5 memberships, and Bella Stella hit me with 20. I didn't want to disrupt what was happening on. The queen of recruitment to the following. Those people who are joined here. I hope everyone here expressed their gratitude to Bella Stella for her fine recruitment efforts. She was actually on a phone call. I don't know if you heard it, but on a phone call yesterday, someone was just talking about how amazing you are and your support for this channel. And I couldn't echo it anymore. So it's definitely very much noticed, very much appreciated. So God bless you, Bella Stella. Those of you who are new to the following, please take note. You might, if you're not watching at night, you might not be aware of this, you might not hear, you might be relatively new, you don't know what the following is all about. The following is really about personal growth through community, unity, and leadership training. So, and I'm not the leader of the following. Okay, just say it out loud, because people get very confused about this. I even had a thing down here talking trash and saying Joe is no, I am not the leader of the following. So please make sure you understand that. And the following is not at all a cult type of cult. So, but God bless you for the 20 for the 20 memberships, and God bless you as well, TextVet, for the 5 memberships. You guys are amazing in your support here, and yeah, I don't even know what else. I don't even know what else to say to that. I'll tell you, I think his speech here was good. I think that a couple of interesting questions. I hadn't thought what Big Red Snake brought up here, like the idea that Biden might have stepped down. That's what we start throwing out there. Is Biden going to step down? Is Biden going to step down? He's not going to step down. He's not going to step down. He's a danger to democracy. I really love what Tucker said yesterday. I think this has to be very important. We need to start otherizing. We need to start otherizing those folks who are willing to stand behind these convictions as having legitimacy. But they are a threat to the republic. They're a threat to the republic because these decisions are a threat to the republic. Basically saying that we can criminalize anything we want. Change all the rules. They talk about that there are all these claims that Trump wants to throw out the Constitution. This was throwing out the Constitution. This in so many different ways. This is such a terrible decision. Such a terrible decision. Lack of unanimity. You can find him guilty of any crime and you can convict him. Any crime, convict him. The more I think about that, the more I agree with Turley. He's really right on that. That's insanity. That's insanity. You don't even have unanimity majority of your peers. You don't, because you don't know what they haven't. They don't know. And what I'm referring to, when I heard this yesterday, Jonathan Turley was saying that Judge Merchan said that, hey, I'm just going to explain to you a little bit about these convictions, because I did it very late in my show yesterday when I was on a phone call and I'm engaging in a thought exercise. This is what they're saying. There was some unlawful activity, some crime. We'll come back to what this is. And that crime was used to commit another crime. That crime was used to help steal an election. And using a crime to steal an election is a crime. And then there was a business writing, a falsification of business records to cover up this crime of unlawfully stealing an election. So there's really 3 different crimes that the jury had to contemplate over, right? You have some crime is committed and the purpose of that crime is to wrongfully steal an election, and then to cover up that you're wrongfully stealing an election, create a business record. That's essentially what the jury found in order for him to be held guilty. What was that first crime? What's the first crime that was helping him purportedly steal an election? Judge Merchan said there could be any of 3 things. It could be Michael Cohen's tax filings. It could be Michael Cohen's financial records and what he submitted to bank institutions. That was another one. There was a third one also, where Judge Mershon said, this first crime, you don't all have to agree. As long as there's some crime there. In that case, there's this part, and then there's part 2 of that crime is to steal an election, and then there's part 3 that there's a falsification in order to cover up that he's trying to steal an election. But how do you establish that he had the intent to commit a crime? So for all we know, and one of them, by the way, is that he's paying too much in taxes. So basically, we're saying you're lying to the IRS and paying too much taxes for the purposes of stealing an election, and then falsifying records about that. Well, and Judge Mershon says you don't all have to agree about what the first crime is. Then how do you know that he had the intent to commit any of these crimes? How do we know that? We don't know that. So it could be that 4 of them thought that no, he didn't at all try to do the falsification of the help Cohen lie to a bank. And others are saying, and others believe that it was about the bank records. Some might say that some might not go along with the whole overpaying the IRS. I mean, think about how insane this is. His crime that he's got hit with could be that 9 of them thought, oh, it's a crime for you to overpay your taxes. I mean, this is the first guy going to jail, or potentially going to jail, for overpaying taxes. How insane is this? How insane. This is how desperate they are. That's how desperate they are. So that's why Jonathan Turley, who's a legal scholar, was saying this is insane. You need to have unanimity about what that first crime is. And at first I was a little hesitant about it. I was like, maybe if you have unanimity about the second crime, you don't need to have unanimity here. But the more I thought about it, especially after that caller, you have to have them all agreeing that he has the intent to commit that first crime in order for there to be a crime. The only way you have that is they're all in agreement. How do you know? How do you know that they're all in agreement on it? Anyway, bottom line is, at the end of the day, the case, the convictions are there. And the way we fight this is keep protesting. Keep protesting. But please, I'm going to urge you all 100% peacefully. If you engage in violence, you will be thrown in jail. You will be prosecuted. You might, or jail would be the best thing for you. You saw what happened to Ashley Babbitt. If you engage in violence, the consequences for you will be disastrous, and it doesn't help anything. It doesn't help. That's not going to help anything. All you're doing is playing into the claim that MAGA is dangerous, uniquely dangerous. So, the protest loudly, proudly, and also we need to bind together and basically say that anyone who tries legitimizing these convictions is a threat to our republic. They're a threat to a healthy republic. They're a threat to our country. And they need to be exposed and shunned. You're a threat. You obviously don't care about America's well-being. New member Wilfram, welcome aboard. Welcome to the following. The following is not all a cult. You're not the leader. You just have power of attorney, the leader making all decisions, but not the leader of the culty, not cult. It's simple. Power attorney. Power attorney. But they can charge whoever they decide to charge. That's basically how this thing. That's how it boils down at the end of the day. All right. Make sure I didn't miss anything over here. Maybe 100% clear that I didn't. Oh, I did miss. I missed a bunch. Barb loves Alaska. Says breaking. Senator Joe Manchin, a lifelong Democrat, left the party to become an independent. The West Virginia senator announced today. Wow. That's crazy. Oh my God. Also breaking from Barbara Alaska. She's my new news breaking journalist here. Breaking. Jim Jordan will demand Alvin Bragg and Matthew Colangelo to appear for hearing on June 13, 2024 to testify about the unprecedented political prosecution of President Trump. Wow. That is kind of crazy. That is insane. All right, my friends. I am on my way over to Laid Back Law. That's where I'm headed right now. I'm headed to Laid Back Law. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to redirect you over there. Send you on over there. If you're unfamiliar, there's going to be a panel of great lawyers on there. Panel of great lawyers. I'm going to put the description in I'm going to put a description. I'm going to put that up there in my locals, which is goodlogic.locals.com. And I am going to be heading on over there to hang out with a whole bunch of attorneys. I'm positive we're going to end up talking about this. Oh, there's a few more chats we have in here. Under this standard, anytime since this judge has donated to Dems, and now he could be charged with conspiracy for insurrection and prosecuted by any DA, the standard this sets is stupid. Yep. It's insane. It's such a low threshold. It's terrible. But this is not an area I'm standing on. Welcome, new members, solid number 5. Thank you so much for your support. I appreciate that. Urge you guys to check out goodlogic.locals.com if you want to find me if you want to know wherever you can find me. Andy W says, how did jurors even get to assume an underlying crime was committed? What's the legal mechanism that allows you to prosecute a subsequent crime without a conviction of the underlying crime? Whole thing is bizarre. It's bizarre. Unless they're finding him guilty of those other crimes also, but just not charging him. But that means you need to have unanimity on those other crimes. It's craziness. At the end of the day, I want to point this out also. They do not expect these charges to withstand appellate scrutiny. They don't care about that. None of this was about this. This was purely to give useful idiots the opportunity to refer to him as convicted felon. So when you see someone saying convicted felon, identify them for what they are. That's what a useful idiot says. A useful idiot is just fulfilling their wishes. We're going to make up some sort of ridiculous basis to try and convict them just to attach the label felon. And only an incompetent boob actually would refer to him as convicted felon. So, I think that's, if you're wondering who's going to be on there, I'm going to put it in the description here where I'm going. Let me get a copy of where this is. Way back. Well, let's see who's going to be in there with us. I'm going to have Ian, Southern Law, Nate, Eric, some mystery guest, it looks like. It's going to be fun. And it's starting in 2 minutes. So let me send you all up over there. I'll make reference to this in locals. And I will see you all in a moment. Thank you all for joining me. Since I'm not going to have a chance to talk to you guys directly, I will, I'm just going to say have a great weekend. I'll be back here, God willing, tomorrow evening. So, and let me just check. Can I redirect on Rumble also? Is that a possibility? Is that something I can do? I don't even know how you do that. I have no idea how you do that. I'll try to do that. Imagine. Yeah, I don't know how to do that. All right. I'll see you all over on Layback Law. It's supposed to be starting in a minute. So, till then, Goldspeed. Don't eat the bugs. Don't eat